Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club on this Friday morning. The lull before the storm. There's some severe storm warnings issued for today. I guess more so for this afternoon. But so far today it looks like a normal overcast spring day in Sydney. But we'll see what this day brings us. So I'm on my way to work. I'm just here at Circular Quay train station, and as I say time and time again, it just never ceases to amaze me that you can get off public transport, you can get off a train here in Sydney and have this magnificent view presented. It's just unbelievable. It's world class. Anyway, what I'd like to do this morning is to go through a book summary. And today's book summary is entitled The Burnout Fix by author Jacinta Jimenez. And it's a book which looks at stress, the various stresses that we have in our lives, and how we can find remedies to try and function better and to save us from being stressed out and causing issues and living a better and healthier life. The author kicks off the book with a call to action where she says that when you're stressed, you must rest. It's pretty simple, that we need to manage our stress levels and we need to manage our well-being, because if we don't take a proactive stance in that area of our lives and leave it to others, then they're going to run us ragged and we're going to end up being burned out and being, a non-functioning member of our family, of our business, and end up on the scrap heap. The author reminds us, and I guess we all are aware of this, that over the past decade or two, and especially now with COVID-19 and the pandemic, the working environment has dramatically changed and evolved in many directions, with technology and changes in work models. But it never ceases to, to surprise us that we are in a constant productivity race. We're in a productivity race where we're just trying to continually do more with the time that we have available to us. The big question is, in this race, how do we fit in, our profession, our personality, our spirituality, our family life, and all the other things that we want to achieve in our lives? It's a constant balancing, juggling act at best. But the answer isn't giving one up for the other, but it's somehow finding a way to fit everything in together so that we can live a more fulfilled life, I guess, is the key message that comes from this book. Because what happens is constant change when you're constantly flip-flopping between one thing and another. And we've got external stimuluses and requirements. We've got bosses, we've got spouses, we've got children, we've got financial commitments. We've got so many things vying for our time and for our attention that it's really hard to stay on top of things, I guess. And this constant change, this constant fight for our attention causes stress, anxiety, even if we don't notice it. even if we don't acknowledge it, it's happening at the subconscious level, and it's continuing to eat away at us on a daily basis. You often notice that there are those who are able to manage really, really well, those who are able to adapt to increased productivity, are praised in their workforce, and are pretty chuffed with themselves. But for the rest of us, for the majority, we are under this constant pressure to do better. Fighting with our spouses, being intimidated by our managers at work, being threatened to do better, to do more. And it is a challenge. It is a challenge that we need to acknowledge. And the author here reminds us that burnout is very real, but what we need to do is we need to time out to reconnect with ourselves, our families, our friends, our work peers, and achieve what is known as work-life balance. And I must admit that many people, many organisations pay lip service to it, but very, very few actually deliver. As soon as you back off and drop your productivity, they're onto you, and the threats start to escalate. So how do we get to a point where we can become masters of our productivity and not suffer the consequences of burnout? So the author gives us 3 key points from this book. The first formal point, is that mindfulness is important. Mindfulness is the key to avoiding burnout and living a healthier life. And mindfulness is all about spending less time in the past, spending less time in your future, because if you're focused on your past, then you tend to be depressed and distracted. If you focus too much time on the future, you tend to be anxious and overwhelmed. But mindfulness is all about sticking to the present. So don't think about past failures. Don't consider taking your anxieties and your stresses and your depression into your work environment, or from your work environment back into your home environment. You need to basically find a balance and embrace the now, and not to overthink your life, and not to get too caught up in your experiences. Because what happens, according to the author, is that our perception of reality gets very distorted due to stress, and we end up making poor decisions, we end up making bad decisions. Because what happens is that uncertainty, the ugliness of uncertainty, tends to fill the voids with anxiety and negativity. And what we don't want is, we don't want the voids, we don't want those peaceful areas of our lives to be filled with anxiety and problems. Because what happens, as the author says here, is that we overthink things. And when you overthink things, you're overthinking things at the conscious level, but you're also overthinking things at the subconscious level, which eventually will eat away at you and lead to your burnout. And if you burn out, then you may impact others around you as well and cause them to burn out through your stresses and anxieties and irrational fears. So the author here says, in order to fix this vicious loop, we need to practice mindfulness, and we need to practice and replace anxiety with curiosity. That's a very interesting point. Instead of being anxious all the time, start to ask questions, but empowering questions, positive questions, questions that are going to give you empowering answers, things that you can do to solve things rather than to worry about things. And the author here talks about the importance of having compassion about yourself. Make sure that the best friend that you have is me, yourself. It's a simple sort of concept, but I guess it's a powerful concept. So the author here says it's critical that we become very, very aware of our thinking process, examine the information input that causes the problems in our lives, and learn how to control those thoughts and to push away and keep at bay those thoughts that bring you grief. So one thing that the author then suggests is that we need to connect with positive and supportive people because our circle is important. And we need to then know when to reach out and how to reach out to the people that we trust and who are there for us. Because showing vulnerability is not a weakness, it's actually a strength, and it's an act of courage. One thing that we all need to do and to consider is to become partners in each other's growth and development and well-being, and to learn to diversify our networks in order to generate cognitive flexibility. And the last formal point to come out of this book is the importance of having a personal statement for each of us, to have our mission statements to help us find our purpose and fulfillment at work, at home, socially, and in all areas of our lives. Because if we don't have a mission statement, if we don't have something which identifies our purpose for being and what we stand for, then we'll tend to drift and basically be somebody else's lackey. We need to identify, according to this author, our personal why. What are our values? What is important to us? And what are our guiding principles? And generally, we should have about 5, the author says, have about 5 guiding principles. You can count them on the fingers of one hand. And they're things which link together your values, your skills, your meaning, and to give you a meaningful pursuit to follow through in your life, and to basically give your life a mission, a why, a very compelling and powerful why, to help you get up early in the morning and to keep you up late at night, where at the same time you feel energized. So thank you very much once again for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club on Friday morning in this empty city of Sydney. But hopefully next week or the week after, by the 11th of October, we'll hit our 70% vaccination target, and Sydney will start to come out of its hibernation and to start to find its mojo leading and coming into summer. And I wish everybody a good long weekend. My tip for the footy finals are Penrith to beat Souths. And the reason for that is that any team that beat the Eels on a day that the Eels could have beaten any team in the competition, to me seems to be worthy enough to be favourites for the football finals. Anyway, I'm heading off. I've got to go to work. I'm just going to hop on the train, and we'll chat again from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment. So it's Jim from Jim's 5am Club, signing off from this magnificent location, Circular Quay Railway Station. and hopefully it won't get too stormy or too bad. There was a little hail yesterday at home, but today seems to be going to be a much more wilder weather situation. Anyway, I'm chatting away. I'm starting to talk silliness. We'll chat again. Bye for now. All the best.